Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. Thank you so much, Generosity Generation, for tuning in once again for today's broadcast and show. I am very excited to announce that we are starting something new here at Referrals Podcast. Every once in a while, we have been called for me to go solo. We're going to call these jam sessions, which in other words is just Ask Michael sessions, because we got to stick with the acronym theme as we do every single week on Referrals Podcast, and especially did last week with Brittany Hodak. And I will tell you that we had such an outstanding response from what I would call a pretty complex call to action, which was rate and review the podcast anywhere that you listen. So iTunes, Audible, Google Stitcher, Google Play or Stitcher, or any of the other places that you can listen to the Referrals Podcast. Rate it, review it, and then do a screenshot or take a picture of that and then share it in joingengen.com. Share it in the Generosity Generation Facebook group, and we will send you one of Brittany Hodak's autographed Creating Superfans books, which is now an international bestseller. And we will send you a commemorative bookmark that is numbered 1 through 500 for being one of the first 500 books that she has sold. So we still have about 7 of those left, and we would love to give those out. So we bought a case. One of the first ones to buy a case from Brittany. I'm glad. That's what I love to do. It's all about collaboration, not competition, and so supportive of what she's doing and helping companies create superfans, helping you create superfans. So I have to tell you that we are going to continue that until we give away the entire case of books. We will be sending out books all week, and we're glad to do so. The way to get it, once again, is to rate this podcast, review this podcast, and then take a picture of it or a screenshot, share that photo in joingengen.com. If you're not familiar with how to do it, joingengen.com. And then once you join the Generosity Generation, you will see some of the pictures that other people have shared, and maybe that will help you complete this task so that you can get a book, an autograph book, sent to you directly. So we are going to continue doing that until the case is gone, and we do have at least seven of those left. So we will make sure we get those out to you. Also, we need to give a shout out to Cynthia Yosha Snyder. She is a realtor in Indiana, and she rated and reviewed the podcast. She rated it a 5-star, and she said, "This podcast will change your life." I mean, should we read any further? We should just stop there, right? I mean, what else do you need to hear? It's going to change your life. Michael and Brittany share acronyms galore, which is typical on this show, inspiring you to create super fans. Great ideas to implement, and that is Cynthia Yosha Snyder. And I also have to give a shout out to her because she did refer me to her brokerage, which is FC Tucker. And we are in conversations about having me come speak Indiana. Once again, as many of you probably know, I do not get on the road to speak as much as I used to. I used to do 40 to 52 weeks a year, and now it's less than 5 weeks a year that I go on the road and speak. So we're trying to make that happen in Indiana. I would love to go back to Indianapolis. Love the area, love the people, lots of like-minded people, and a lot of people there that want to build their businesses on love, generosity, and appreciation. So Cynthia, thank you for the referral. Thank you for rating and reviewing the podcast. And thank you for helping us out so much and following those, what I would consider maybe a little bit complex call to action. So great job there. And all of the other dozens of you have already done that and really appreciate it. So right to today, which is today's jam session. And over today's podcast and a couple of more, we're going to go over the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. These are 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. Or another way to explain it would be, here are 23 ways to not be referable. And I will tell you, I put a lot of thought into this, and what I have just totally discovered is that the subtitle of this is, here's why all the so-called experts are all wrong. And I call cockamamie on so many of the ways people are saying to get referrals. People who have never gotten referrals on their own, literally never. Their business has never gotten referrals. They don't understand the referral culture, and they just say the same things that somebody else said a long time ago. I am going to debunk a lot of myths during this podcast and the following podcast. And as Coach says in 7L, when Rick tries to give an excuse, he says cockamamie, which means that's ridiculous and it doesn't make any sense for you to think that way. That's where I'm going with today. Is let's start with the number one way to not get referrals in 2023. Once again, we are going to cover 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. And the first one is an easy one. And this is do nothing. Do nothing. Literally, if you do nothing, you will get nothing. So, and that's that's a thing in today's world, because the best way to not get criticism is to not say anything, to not do anything, and not be anything. It's so easy if you don't want to ruffle feathers, you don't want to take arrows, you don't want to be the nail, right? Don't be the long nail. Well, here's the thing, is take action this year. Take action, even if it is small and it seems inconsequential. Take an action you hear on Referrals Podcast. And every time I ask for, this is what is so frustrating to me sometimes when I hear of someone who hasn't implemented anything from the Referrals Podcast. Every time I ask for the final words of wisdom from our guests, they all say the same thing. Just do it. Do it now. You just got to do it. Do it, right? Just do it. Just take action. So here's the thing. Don't do nothing. Which the opposite of that is do something. Because we know people want to refer action takers and doers. It's just, why do you get a referral? You get a referral to help someone solve a problem. That's why you get referrals. And, I start with an easy one, but sometimes the hardest thing to do is take action, to take that first step. And what I'm going to implore with you, to just beg you to do, is just take one little step and go in the direction that you know is the right direction to get referrals. Pick up the phone and give somebody a call, not to ask for referrals, not to build rapport, not to, just call them and say, how's it going? I was just thinking of you, and just talk to them. There is something refreshing about getting a phone call from a friend who literally doesn't want anything from you, because it seems like every phone call we answer, people want something from us. Every email we get, people want something from us. Every text message, almost every text message we get, people want something from us. It is so refreshing when we get a text message or email or a Facebook message, or it's honestly, it's just, how you doing? I was just thinking about you today and I thought I'd give you a call, or I'd talk to you, or reach out to you. And guess what? That's a great action. There are so many great actions you can take that are referable. Why would you do nothing? I encourage you to do something. Take action, do something. And you know what? That's number one. The number one way to not get referrals is to do nothing. Let's go into number two. And this might be another easy one. Hopefully this is an easy one for all of you. And that is, be dishonest if you want to not get referrals. Like, and I don't mean like things like, commit fraud, right? Blatantly lie, steal, I know you're not doing those things, or at least I know most of you aren't doing those things. But I'm talking about like failure to disclose, or trying to be sneaky, or trying to get away with something, or lying in some way so that you can, then you got to remember what you said to everybody, right? Lying, cheating, stealing. I'm not worried. It's that failure to disclose. And here's the thing. No integrity equals no referrals. No integrity equals no referral. It's that easy. You have to be referable. It's so important. And I'm going to throw another one in. I'm going to give you a bonus way to not get referrals under number 2, which is, be dishonest. As you all know, it's to be honest. And the thing is man, it's like, where have we heard that before? Like kindergarten, all of our life. And yet sometimes when money gets involved, people forget the whole be honest thing. And I'm telling you right now, if you put money first, you're going to make a mistake. If you put people first, just tell them with honesty, right? What is happening? Don't load it with emotion. Just tell them and let them make the decision. And what's amazing to this is 99.9% of the time, you may lose money in the short term, but it earns you money in the long term. And you might be like, oh, I need this deal to pay my rent. I need this thing to send my kid to college. I get it, right? The bigger the number, sometimes the harder it is to be honest. But I'm telling you right now, the bigger the payoff is for being honest. And I'm going to pour another one in here is like, don't be a jerk. Don't be an a-hole. A way to not get referrals is to be negative. So don't be a curmudgeon. Don't be this negative naysayer. You're like, no, I'm a realist. No, you're annoying, right? It's like, don't be a jerk. Don't be an a-hole. Don't be a b-hole either. It's one of those where just, you know what? Sometimes the toughest people that to give referrals to is some person that's really good at what they do, but they just don't have great, curbside manners. There's bedside manners for doctors. But then there's that curbside manners, which is when they're at somebody's home, they just don't relate well. You think referring them, it may come back to haunt you because of the negativity or the political stance or whatever it may be. So I think the big thing here is be honest, be nice, and listen. Straight out of last week's podcast. All right. The number 2 way to not get referrals is to be dishonest or be a jerk. The number 3, this might seem easy too. It might seem knowledgeable, but the truth is that it's so prevalent. The number 3 way to not get referrals in 2023 is suck at what you do. Suck at what you do. Have a crappy product or service. And the thing about it is the best way to get no referrals is just have a product that doesn't do what it's supposed to do. There's nothing better than, telling somebody that this product works and then they get it and it doesn't work. That's horrible, right? But it's one of those where, in many cases, if you do the same thing or produce the same thing as someone else, you aren't doing anything special. So I just had a great call with a lender and I said, hey, listen, so you're going to continue your phone calls and you're just going to ask the people you run into what is their biggest challenge right now. Just out of curiosity, find out what their biggest challenge is. And I go, so far, out of the people you've talked to, how many of them have said, man, my biggest challenge is I really wish I had a lender who had quality service, great rates, and could close on time? How many of them have said that? And he's like, well, none. And we kind of laughed, but I mean, what are lenders out there telling people about themselves? They're saying we close on time, we have great rates, and doggone it, we've got quality service. And the thing is, that's sucking. That's the standard. So the flip side of don't suck is What's your wow? What's your differentiation point? And just so you know, we cover that on Referrals Podcast. We're almost 300 episodes in here. We've given you 200 plus ways to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. The thing about it is we all know that the ultimate differentiation is generosity. And maybe it's not, we all know, but those in the generosity generation know that the ultimate differentiation is generosity. Be the most generous professional in your profession. Be the most generous, whatever it is, professional in your community. Be the most generous. That is instant differentiation in a big way. Build your business on love, generosity, and appreciation. But you might think, having a great product might get you referrals, but I have to tell you, having a sucky product it's going to eliminate your referrals. But the thing is you might think, well, I've got a great product, I've got a great service. But the thing about it is you've got to go beyond. You've got to wow people. The satisfied clients are not a way to get referrals. Wowed clients are the way to get referrals. So I encourage you to come up over the next 30 days what you're going to do to wow your clients. And you might think, well, I don't know how to wow them. And that's okay. By the way, that's a great start. And it's probably very much the truth, even for those that are, no, I wow them. And it's like, really, how many referrals you get? 1 or 2 a month. Okay. So, we have people getting hundreds. So maybe we need to talk about how we can ramp that up a little bit, right? And the fact of the matter is that we share with you a lot of ways to wow your clients, and with your product, with your service, with everything you're doing. And I think here's the thing: is look at what you recommend. What services and products do you recommend, and why is that? And then just kind of analyze it from that. And the other side of this too is I encourage you to do the exercise I just shared, which is talk to people, give them a call in genuine curiosity and the spirit of generosity. We're going to go forth with curiosity and generosity, okay? And we're just going to simply ask, listen, what's your biggest challenge right now? They're going to go personal or professional. You tell me which one you want to talk about, right? And sometimes they'll share personal, sometimes they'll share professional, and maybe they'll share both. And you should write that down. And what will happen is that over 20 conversations, over 100 conversations, one, you are building connection with that person. But the other thing too is you're finding out how you can help in the world. People will share different challenges with different people. And a lot of times when they share a challenge with you, it's because maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, they feel like you have the connection or ability to help them. So help them, but you're also going to find out how you can most help the world, and specifically how you can most help your neighbors and your community by asking everybody you run into, what's your biggest challenge right now? And then conquering that. So number 3 is the way to not get referrals is to suck at what you do or have a sucky product. The opposite of that is wow people. Have an awesome product, have an awesome service, and if you can have both, then you win. Number 4 way to not get referrals. And I have to tell you that I have seen this sabotage people over and over again in my career. And I'm telling you right now that some of them, I probably should have said something and didn't. And there's probably people that that you should probably talk to. And it's a really difficult subject. 4 is tough to bring up. So what you might want to do is recommend they listen to Referrals Podcast and the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023, and have them listen through this. Some of them are going to become self-aware that the reason you recommended it is this one. But in some cases, they'll blur right by it because they're not aware of it at this point, and you've done all you can. And here's the thing, this is 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023, and it's like it might be 23 reasons you're not getting as many referrals as you should in 2023. Might be another way to put that. Number 4 way to not get referrals in 2023 is to dress aggressively, drink to excess, or breathe fire. Yep, you like your rollie on your wrist and you paid big money for it. Hopefully it's not a forgery or a fake. You have a pinky ring. Nice. I get it. Hey, you have big boobs. Sweet. Tuck them in, sweetheart. Like, what are we selling here? And while you are at it, back up a few feet because your commission breath smells of vodka and yesterday's tuna. Oh, good. You're tipsy and you're dancing the moonwalk. So referable. You can have fun, but have fun responsibly. Someone is always watching. And if not, their camera is videoing. And then everyone is watching. Here's the thing. Check your ear hair, nose hair, eyebrow hair, and breath, please. And here's a friendly reminder. XYZ PDQ. Examine your zipper pretty dang quick. You can do this quickly and easily in the restroom before you hit the floor, before you meet with someone. Just make it a habit. We talk about fly a lot around here on Referrals Podcast. First, love yourself. And we don't mean the other fly. So yip your yipper and make sure that you don't slouch. Let's go. And this is the one, right? I will tell you that I was a lifeguard when I was about 14, 15 years old. I will tell you that a lifeguard is a pretty sweet gig. Pretty sweet gig for a teenage boy. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I also lifted a lot of weights, and my metabolism was 1,000% greater than it is now. And so I was a lifeguard, and I interacted with a lot of females. And at times I got frustrated that some of them didn't want to take the relationship further, right? To even a first date or to even go out or to hang out. And then and it was like at the end of the summer, it was literally like July or August. I think it was August when someone finally told me that my breath stunk. And it was like, first of all, you deny it, right? You're like, you mean right now, right? And they were like, no, consistently. And listen, I don't know why. Well, I do know why my breath stunk. Is when you're working as a lifeguard, you get to drink pop for free. So I drank a lot of pop because you get bored. And what do you do when you're bored? You tend to want to eat or drink or whatever. So I drank Coke, I drank pop, I drank soda, wherever you're at in the country. That's what I was drinking. And, you weren't there brushing your teeth all day. You were out in the hot sun. And so it's like dehydration plus the sugar plus, being a teenage boy where you tend to stink more anyway. And I was just so taken aback when I first heard it. But it was such great advice. Literally, I am, whatever it is, it's 30 some years later. And now, even before I go into the gym, I will eat a couple of mints. True story. And honestly, if you're bench pressing and you have a spotter, they don't want to smell your fire breath either, So I become self-conscious about it, but in a good way. I brush my teeth. I take a toothbrush with me. And it's one of those where I'm so glad that that person was courageous enough to bring it up before I was in the business world and in the business setting, and it became a detriment there. And these people, it doesn't take much to trim your nose hair or your ear hair, but how many of us have been across at a one-to-one table and like we can't take our eyes off the 2-inch ear hair that is like has a life of its own. So, and it's just like be sharp, be cleaned up. Do you have to, here's the thing. Do you have to be pretty? Do you have to be beautiful? Do you have to, listen, I am the greatest example ever that you don't have to be like ridiculously good looking, right? Zoolander reference, to sell, to have great relationships, to do well in the world. But you know what? We need to dress appropriately. We need to not drink to excess, and we need to make sure that we don't breathe fire. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the number 4 way to not get referrals, is to just not be presentable. Be presentable. You don't have to dress in a suit and tie. You don't have to wear a black dress or a super dress. You don't have to, be Barbie looking. You don't have to be Ken doll looking. You just need to be presentable. And you know what? If you're not sure, get some help. There's a lot of people out there who can really help. I don't know what was the show where they used to take people and they would redo their hair or they would help with the makeup, and they came out as like, what in the heck? They looked like a totally different person. And it's like, let's work on that, and once again, listen, there's enough body shaming. There's enough looks shaming in the world that I don't want you to think that this is that type of piece. This is not a shaming piece at all. This is just be presentable. Look professional, do what you got to do. And you know what? Just present the best self that you can and go with it. And that's number 4. So I will tell you, I love it. And remember to XYZ PDQ before you go into any meeting. Just throwing that out there. So we're on to number 5. Number 5 is one that I have seen over and over and over again. We're starting to get referrals now, right? And it's like, what's the response? And the number 5 way to not get referrals in 2023 is to ghost referral sources. And guess what? You're like, no, I love my referral sources. But you know what? This is an amazing way to not get referrals. When you get referred, you are probably really pretty good at communicating with the referral. But what do you do and say and follow up with when it comes to the referral source? The referral source, what they really want is for you to take care of their friends, answer their questions, and keep them updated to the progress. That's it. A referral source, they don't want a gift. They don't want money, typically, right? Unless your relationship's already monetary. They just want you to take care of the friend and make them look like a hero for referring them. And I love that. So here's the thing. Here's your call to action from this is create a referral source system like a Top Yap that we talk about on here, which is a yearly ambassador program that is a series of events for your top people. And we've talked about it many times over the last 3 years of this podcast. Another one is the Great Retrace, which once again, we have talked about several times here on the podcast. Neil Smith and I just talked about it last year, and I've talked about it before, and you're probably familiar with the Great Retrace, but it doesn't have to be that extensive of a system. What if you just called and kept the referral source updated or texted them, and you just had it in your phone every Monday was the day to update your referral sources? Or, Friday is just such a great day to update people anyway, like Friday updates. It just makes sense. And the other thing too is updating people on Friday. When do most people interact with the most people? And that is on weekends. So if you do an update on Friday, your referral sources are kind of working for you on the weekend. This is a way to keep super fans in reference to last time's podcast. So I think the big thing, if you're not familiar with the Top Yap, the yearly ambassador program that we talked about, or the Great Retrace, I encourage you to listen this year to the Referrals podcast and stay in tune, because we're going to talk about it more and more. And we're even going to talk about how to take the Great Retrace to an even further level that it will be mind blowing for a lot of you. So I'm just telling you that the way to not get referrals is to absolutely ghost your referral sources. And don't tell me you haven't done it, because we had 1,500 new clients last year. And I would say maybe one or two had a referral source system, one or two. And I wrote the book 12 years ago on how to have a referral source system, right? The Ambassador Development Program to the Great Retrace or to the Yearly Ambassador Program. And you know what? It's just a thing. It happens. We get busy. Life hits us. Who are we more likely to interact with? It's the client. But let me ask you something. Who is more important? The referral source or the client? Who's more important? Who's more important? The client's number one, right? I get it. Some people are like, no, the referral source is number one. And a lot of times I ask this question in front of an audience. They're like, both. The answer is, yeah, they're important, but who is more important? And I'm going to tell you right now that I'll ask it in a different way. Who is more important? The golden goose or the golden egg? The golden egg is your client. The golden goose is the referral source. So I'm telling you right now, in many ways, the referral source is more important than the client. Don't lose a referral source in pursuit of a client. So follow up with your referral sources. Create a referral source follow. It could simply be Friday, you get a appointment in your schedule. It's 1 hour and it's just update referral sources. And that doesn't mean you have to update current referrals. If you don't have any current referral sources, you update past referral sources. You give them a call, whatever it may be. So the number 5 way out of the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023 is to ghost referral sources. Just not follow up, not communicate with them. And it's a crazy amount of times that this has happened. All of our research, the Referral Research Institute, we call, we do all this, and it just, I'd say 0.01% of professionals have a referral source follow-up system. And guess what? That's why we exist, and that's why Referco is setting records every single month. There you go. All right, number 6. I'm going to cover number 6, and I have to tell you that your company trainer is about to explode. Your company trainer's head and maybe heart is about to explode. And I have to warn you about this one because I'm about to attack dogma. And in this case, dogma is DS. And the number 6 way to not get referrals in 2023 is to ask for referrals verbally. What? Yeah. I mean, it's like, you're like, that's dogma. How many classes have you been to where they're saying you got to ask for, aren't I supposed to be asking for referrals? And it's like, no, unless you want to repel people. Have you ever been asked for a referral? Have you ever been asked for a referral? It's the most awkward thing in the world. And it's so self-serving of the person who is asking. Nobody asked it. It comes across wrong 99% of the time. And when it does come across wrong, it's a killer. It burns a bridge. And the bridge is the bridge of referrals. And hopefully it doesn't burn the bridge of the relationship, because that happens too. I mean, there are people you avoid in the store because you know they're probably going to talk business and probably ask you for something. And it might be referrals. There are ways to ask for referrals that don't entail asking someone point blank and putting them on the spot. So this is the year that you make people feel awesome, not awkward. Asking for referrals verbally to their face where they have no out is awkward. This is the year you're going to make people feel awesome. Stop verbally assaulting people with your referral scripts. Seriously. We don't do it. We don't encourage it. We don't teach it. And we have people getting 20, 30, 50, 100 referrals a month without asking for referrals verbally, without putting people on the spot, without making people feel awkward. You know how they're doing it? By making people feel awesome. And guess what? If you listen to Referrals podcast, we will share many, many ways where you can make people feel awesome and get lots and lots of referrals. And we'll help you do it. What if prospecting was fun? Yeah, that's what we're teaching here. Funprospecting.com. Fun prospecting. Have fun, prospect, get referrals. That's it. That's it. That's what we do. And by the way, that all came from asking consumers, friends, like, what's your biggest challenge right now? Right? What's your biggest challenge right now? What are your goals? And finding out what people like. And what people like has nothing to do with realtors, lenders, CPAs, financial people, you know, they'll never say they like money. Isn't that funny? Like, what's your biggest challenge right now? Like, money. Like, very rarely will it say money, right? And it's like, what do you do for fun? Very rarely do they say anything that makes them money. Isn't that funny? And it's funny money. But it's not funny. Money is not funny. But what people want is they want what the money will buy them. They want the things that money does for them. And what I have to say is, what if we just gave them the things that they wanted to do with the money, right? And I think, or things that they might not do because it's discretionary income and they prefer to invest it, or they prefer to save it, or they prefer to spend it in other ways. And the thing is that's what we do, right? We're going to find out what our community does, our tribe of trust does and wants to do, and we're just going to help them do it. And that's it. That's it, right? We're not going to frustrate the marketplace by telling them that now is the time to buy, now is the time to sell, rates are really good, rates really suck. You know, we're not. Instead, we're going to have this system that's based on, you know what, people are human and people want to have fun. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to help them have fun. And we're going to get a lot of referrals doing it. And that's what we do. So guess what? That's number 6 on the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. And the number 6 reason is the number 6 way is to ask for referrals verbally, put people on the spot. And the thing is I know you've been told that for years. If you've been in real estate or lending, you've literally been told that since you got into the business, and you don't do it. Why do you not do it? The reason you don't do it is because you're a good person. In your heart of hearts, you know that you wouldn't want somebody else to do it to you, so you don't do it to them. And guess what? That's the problem with the entire sales process over the years. And you know, we see these hardcore closers, or we see these people that are they're less worried about people's reactions of them. Well, it used to be that served them well because they could intimidate and overcome people's objections, and they could like sell people. But people can't be sold anymore. They can't be intimidated anymore. Or you can intimidate 1 out of 100, but the 99 who weren't intimidated now have the courage to go to social media and spout about it and talk about it and complain about your company. And guess what? Keller Williams just got fined $40 million for do not call fine issues, right? Other real estate companies, Sprint, which was a telecommunications company, was fined like millions of dollars. And so what happened? What changed? I mean, what happened is everybody now has a voice, and we have a vote in our voice, and we vote on your company every single day. We either vote positively or we vote negatively. And all referral generation is about is voting positively, right? There's 2 things you want to do when it comes to generating referrals and having a referral-based business. You want to maximize the number of people who speak highly about you. The number two thing you want to do is you want to minimize the number of people who speak badly about you. Are there going to be people who speak badly about you? Yes, there are. It's going to happen. But what I love is building a business that there are so many people who speak positively about you that if somebody speaks negatively about you, there's 4 or 5 around them who are going to let them know that that wasn't their experience. That's the power of funprospecting.com. That's the power of Referco. That's the power of building a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. Is you're not pissing people off. What a concept. The old sales process was so about pissing people off, making them mad. Like, not necessarily making them mad, but just like churning and burning. Like, how many F-bombs have been dropped to salespeople over the years? Right? How many hang-ups have people heard over the years? Right? What if people quit hanging up the phone and started picking up the phone when you called because they knew it was going to be good? It was going to be an opportunity. It might be a connection. It might be a referral. It might be something that benefits their life. That's the methodology here, people. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the old sales process. I'm tired of the traditional ways. I'm tired of the closers and the boiler room and the wolf on Wall Street. My God, doesn't that look fun? Doesn't that look fun to be an a-hole on your yacht, right? Bad-mouthing the FBI. And isn't it funny that at the end of all those movies, they all die or go to prison? And that's your model, Mo. That's your model, buddy. That's your model. That's right? And listen, this is the time to think about it. It's time for us to get over being influenced by these millionaires, right? The fake millionaires, right? The ones who take these pictures on the boats and in front of the cars and in front of the planes and all that. Or they figure out a way to get onto a private jet and they take a picture going up, down, in front of it, 5 minutes, and they use the same picture 55 different times. They don't own the jet, and maybe they didn't even get a flight on the jet. All they did was go out and walk at a private community airport and get the picture. And it's like, dude, don't fall for that anymore. Like, ask questions. Figure it out. No more blowhards. Like, listen. A part of you likes it. A part of you likes that animalistic, kill or be killed, crush it, kill it, dominate it. I get it, especially us males, right? Listen, go crush a workout. Go kill some plates. But let's quit crushing people and killing people and dominating people. Let's dominate the weight room. Let's dominate the trail when we run. Let's leave the domination and the killing and the crushing to the workouts and the weights and the writing and the working and let's start being nice to people and listen. Right? So I'm telling you, no more asking for a referral verbally, people. No more putting people on the spot. No more making people feel awkward. Be nice and listen. Number 7, and this is the last one that I'm going to cover today. Number 7, and this is on the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. This is an interesting one, but it is something that I've seen make a comeback, and I want to squelch it right now. I just want to throw it out there. And that is, the number 7 way to not get referrals in 2023 is to put an I love referrals sticker everywhere on everything. Right? I mean, like, put I love referrals everywhere. Put a sticker on every note card, put it on the back of your business card, put it on your social media post. I love referrals. I love referrals. Come on. Right? A common theme to our referrals podcast conversations. Are you telling me or are you showing me? And well done is always better than well said. Talk is cheap, and there is no cheaper talk than a freaking sticker. I'm just telling you. If you really love referrals, show them that you love referrals with excellent appreciation. Hence, we go back to the great retrace again as a strategy. Show them that you really appreciate referrals by follow-up. Proper follow-up with the referral, proper follow-up with the referral source. And if you really love them, you'll be handing out referrals too. The best way to show that you love referrals is to create a referral economy, to create a referral culture in your tribe of trust, in your community. Do you have a referral culture in your community where everybody within the group, it could be a small group, like a networking group, or it could be a bigger group, which is your community, your tribe of trust. Do you have this group that is lively with an exchange of referrals? And if not, please know you want to build that. It's a beautiful world. You've seen and heard from Toral. She has this open line of communication. Her and Johnny are just like, every day it's like popcorn, referrals in, referrals out, connecting people in, connecting people out, invitations, it's introductions. There's just this open line of communication within her community, and it's beautiful. Scott Edwards has this with his group, and so many more that we've had on here and profiled have this open line of communication with their community, with their database, with their sphere of influence, right? So listen, you think putting an I love referral sticker on something is going to get you referrals? It's not. It's not. Instead, what if the world knew you loved referrals because you were giving referrals, you had this referral culture and referral economy, and like they saw how much you loved on your referrals and referral sources. That's the key here. It's not a sticker. It's have this sticky business where people, once they come to you, once they come into your life, it's the best thing that's ever happened to them. What if people were just begging to get into your sphere of influence because of the fact that it would change their life for the better? That's what this is about. When you build your business on love, generosity, and appreciation, it is extremely attractive and it's extremely sticky. And we need to go from stickers to sticky. And I have to tell you, another great book. We talked about creating superfans. We've talked about 7L, Miracle Morning for real estate agents. We've talked about Tony Alessandra and the Platinum Rule. We've talked about Go Giver with Bob Berg. We've talked about, and I could talk about 1,500 different books, but another great book is Sticky Church. You might want to check it out. It's called Sticky Church. And I love it. I appreciate it. And what it talks about is just a church where people want to continue to come in on Sundays, and they want to continue to come in the other days of the week. And he built it with small groups. And this is the year, I'm just telling you, that you're going to hear from me so much about small events, big results. We have this system with our top yaps and with our all yaps, having these smaller events with just gigantic types of outcomes on it. And I'm not talking about like hundreds of referrals from a small, I'm talking about just 25 really good referrals that are easier to manage, easier to follow up with, easier to put into your spreadsheets and CRM. And it's just one of those where, this sticky church concept is small groups, right? Having many small groups based on what the people wanted to learn, wanted to do, and making almost like small communities within the bigger community. Well, what is 7L, right? What is the tribe of trust, right? It's a tribe of tribes. It's a bunch of smaller groups, people that we want to get together, right? ABC, always be connecting, instead of the old ABC, which was always be closing. Always be connecting, all right? And that's what I love about the book Sticky Church. I encourage you to check it out. Just from, if you're into marketing, if you're into business, if you're into lead generation, it's a really good short book. You can get through it in a few hours. So speaking of books, I want to once again just throw it out that we have Creating Superfans books. I think we have 7 left. Rate, review today's podcast, and then you're going to take a picture of it, either, do control print screen. If you don't know how to do it, don't worry about that. Or take a picture of the screen on your phone, and then you're going to share it at joingengen.com. This is, once again, your invitation to join the Generosity Generation. You can join gengen.com. It is private. You're going to have to answer 2 or 3 questions. Answer the questions. They're very intrusive questions, right? They're just informative questions. Answer the questions. We'll let you in. Share your picture. If you want to share something about the podcast, please do so. And then we'll ship you out a book and a commemorative bookmark, one of 500 that are these metal, really nice bookmarks, which will be included in the book. So that's Creating Superfans by Brittany Hodak. Go check it out on Amazon, or write review, rate our podcast, and share it in the joingengen.com group. Here's the thing. Today we covered 7 of the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. We're going to continue this next week. And I just have to tell you that I know these are edgy. I know some of these might be controversial. But I also want you to know that from my heart of hearts, it's time for me to say these things. It's time for me to just, I'm going to share it. And listen, you may not agree with it. It's okay. Let's talk about it. I'm open-minded as anybody. You've got a way to ask for referrals verbally, and you're getting a referral every single time while retaining the relationship. Let's talk. I'm open-minded. Let's make it happen, right? I think the biggest thing is that you ingest and just embrace what I'm talking about, and then give me some feedback. This is like a jam. Just ask Michael, right? Well, people have asked me all the time, how to get referrals. And one of the best ways to examine how to get referrals is how to not get referrals. What are you doing wrong? And then flip it and make sure that we're doing it right. And that's what I've been doing with all of these is not just giving you how to not get referral, but how do we tweak it to make sure that we do get referrals. And ask me questions. Ask in the GenGen group. I'm there every day. I stop by. That's joingengen.com. And just let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. I'm great. If you're a corporate trainer and your brain exploded when I said don't ask for referrals, let's talk about it. The thing that you got to find out about me is that I'm curious and generous. You can't, I don't know. I'm just gonna take whatever you say and I'm gonna be open-minded about it and curious, right? I don't get too out of touch with anything. You can't insult me. I'm just saying, it's one of those where let's just have an open discourse about it and figure it out. So also, you're going to start seeing changes with the Referrals podcast. You're going to see a different album cover, a podcast cover, if you will. You're going to start to see differences in the music. You're going to see differences in the opening. We have brought on a team of individuals to help us produce, engineer, and take the Referrals podcast to a whole new level. Sherry Maher has been doing the brunt work of that for years, and we have freed her up to pursue other passions. And, cheers and a huge ovation to her and what she's been doing. But it's one of those where, listen, she calls it a hand up, not a hand out, or not a hand off. She believes that she's got a team of people now that she can hand it up to, and we can take it to the next level. So I'm very, very excited about the future of Referrals podcast. Hope you are too. If you have any feedback on how we can improve, don't hesitate to let us know. And we're open-minded and we'll make it happen. So today we covered the 7 ways to not get referrals of the 23 ways to not get referrals in 2023. We will continue this next time. I'm very excited about that. Hope you are too. We will see you next time on the Referrals podcast.